The Washington Elementary School District Human Resources Department presents an overview of employee leave policies. District policy states that if an employee is not at work during scheduled hours, they must be on an approved leave. Examples of non-holiday leave available to employees include general leave, vacation, sick time, and a leave of absence. We'll start by talking about general leave. Exempt or salaried employees receive 10 or 12 general leave days each fiscal year, depending on whether they are less than 12 or 12-month employees. These days are credited to them upon hire. Hourly employees accrue leave based on their scheduled hours. A full-time, non-exempt employee receives 10 or 12 general leave days per fiscal year, depending on whether they are under 12 or 12-month employees. Hourly employees accrue these days on a prorated basis for their first year of employment. Prorated means that your 12 general leave days are made available in equal amounts throughout the year. So, 12 months divided by 12 leave days means each month you have one additional leave day available to use. Less than full-time hourly employees also accrue one leave day per month. For example, if a part-time employee works 5 hours per day, they will accrue 5 hours of leave each month. After the first year of employment, hourly employees are credited with their general leave up front. Employees hired on or before January 1st receive this credit at the beginning of the next school year. Those hired after January 1st are credited at the beginning of the following school year. Although leave may be credited up front and available to use at the beginning of the work calendar, the employee still accrues leave in equal prorated amounts. Let's look at an example. Jan is a current less than 12-month employee. At the start of her work calendar, we'll use August 15th in this example, she is credited up front with her 10 general leave days. By December 15th, she has used all 10 of those leave days. On January 15th, or halfway through her work calendar, she resigns from the district. In those 5 months, Jan had accrued 5 leave days, but taken off 10 days. In other words, she has been overpaid. So her final paycheck will include a deduction to account for this overpayment. There are 2 types of general leave. The first is restricted to use for personal illness, family illness, religious observance, and unexpected personal emergencies, such as car trouble or a flood in the house. Supervisors are authorized to request documentation of the reason for request, if applicable. For the 2014-15 school year, general leave may also be used for vacation. This policy is subject to change in subsequent years. General leave for personal business or vacation must receive supervisor approval, so employees are asked to submit requests as soon as possible and prior to making any related financial commitments. Supervisors may approve requests up to 5 consecutive days. Longer requests can be submitted to the superintendent and will require documentation. To minimize interference with the educational process, specific time periods have been set aside during which leave for personal business and vacation may not be approved by a supervisor. These protected days include conference weeks and state testing weeks. Supervisors may also designate additional protected days based on the needs of the site or department. These days will be announced at the beginning of the school year. Special requests to use leave during protected days can be submitted by email to the superintendent and will require documentation of illness, bereavement, or emergency circumstances. Let's look at some general leave scenarios. An employee asks, "My family is going to San Diego during the spring break week. Can I take off the Friday prior to spring break in order to beat the traffic to San Diego?" Because the days prior to or after a holiday are protected days, requests for absence must be submitted to HR or the superintendent. This request is unlikely to be approved, as it is not considered an extenuating circumstance. An employee asks, "My sister is getting married in California on Saturday, December 20th. Can I take a general leave day on Friday, December 19th to travel?" The requested date is prior to winter break, so the request would be submitted to the superintendent. Due to the extenuating circumstances in this example, this request is likely to be approved if supporting documentation is submitted. An employee asks, "My spouse and I are thinking about going to Las Vegas to celebrate our 4th anniversary. Can I take a general leave day on Friday, November 21st? This is not a district-wide protected day, so the school administrator will determine approval based on the school calendar and any other previously requested staff absences. When an employee does not use all of their accrued general leave during a fiscal year, they do not lose it. It is rolled over into an accrued sick leave bank. Unused general leave is the only way that employees accumulate sick leave. The district does not provide sick leave in addition to general leave. Employees can accrue an unlimited number of sick leave days. For example, if an employee uses all but 2 of the general leave days in the first year of employment, then 3 days during the second year, 4 days in the third year, and 1 day in the fourth year, they will have accrued 10 sick days. Sick leave is limited to use for personal or dependent illness or for family and medical leave. Employees who use general and/or sick leave inappropriately may be subject to discipline and will not be paid for that absence. Because an unpaid absence is an unapproved absence, it is a violation of governing board policy. If there's perceived abuse of leave usage, supervisors may confer with an employee to rectify the situation. Employees who occupy more than one position are only permitted to use the hours of leave time that are accrued in each respective position. Let's look at an example. If Sue works as a crossing guard for 1 hour each day, she accrues 10 hours each year to take from that position. If she also works 5 hours each day as an assistant, she accrues 50 hours of leave each year for that position. Even though she earns a total of 60 hours of leave, she cannot take 30 hours from a crossing guard position and 30 from the assistant position. It must be taken from the corresponding position. When scheduling leave, eligible employees may use leave in 15-minute increments. Those who report absences to the district computerized substitute system must report leave in half or full-day increments. Remember that ultimately, your supervisor is responsible for staffing and may confer with an employee to determine a more feasible leave schedule. For example, should several employees already have scheduled time off, or if all employees are needed to assist with an important project or event, employees are asked to give supervisors at least 72 hours notice when scheduling use of general leave or accrued sick leave. The exception is general leave for personal business or vacation, in which case employees are asked to inform their supervisors as early as possible, but at least 1 week in advance. While it is understood that emergency or illness may prevent such notification, the absence must still be reported as soon as possible. Supervisors are authorized to request medical or other documentation to support the absence if applicable. Certified and health services employees must notify the district's computerized substitute system. If an employee fails to notify their supervisor of an absence, the absence will be reported as unapproved, unpaid leave, and the employee will not be paid for that absence. Since an unapproved, unpaid leave violates district policy, the employee may also be subject to discipline. It is important to know that employees must notify their supervisor, not the office manager or a coworker. If an employee is absent for 5 or more consecutive days, the employee must notify the Human Resources Insurance Coordinator. HR will determine if the employee may qualify for FMLA and whether they have used the leave appropriately. A physician's statement verifying illness or injury may be required. Employees may find that they do not need to use all of their general leave days during a year. There are many benefits to saving unneeded leave. We will look at student achievement, the leave buyout program, and loss of income prevention. Studies have shown a correlation between student achievement and employee interaction. That means that when there is a disruption of interface between students and regular employees, it negatively impacts student achievement. Another benefit to saving leave is the district's leave buyout program. Employees severing employment after 15 or more years of service may participate in the district's leave buyout program, in which they will receive some payment for remaining general leave and sick leave days. Saving leave also protects against loss of income due to events such as illness or injury. Eligible employees may use general and sick leave while absent due to a non-occupational illness or injury. This applies to employees who are on short-term disability leave or an unpaid FMLA leave. 12-month employees are eligible for vacation. Initially, employees receive 10 days per year. After completion of 5 consecutive years of employment, they will receive 15 days per year. To use vacation, requests should be submitted to a supervisor at least 1 week in advance. Family and Medical Leave Act, known as FMLA, is a federally regulated law that allows eligible employees to take up to 12 weeks of unpaid leave during a rolling 12-month period for specific reasons. Events that may allow an employee to be eligible for FMLA include the birth or adoption of a child, a serious health condition affecting the employee, or to care for an immediate family member with a serious health condition, or an emergency situation resulting from military duty. Additionally, up to 26 weeks may be taken to care for a service member with a serious health condition. If you are going to be absent from work for 5 or more days due to one of these events, contact Human Resources to see if you are eligible for FMLA. FMLA is kept confidential. Employees may use their accrued general leave and sick leave during this time to avoid having to take the entire period of FMLA unpaid. Take the case of Joe, an employee who had been with the district for 20 years and was required to have surgery that would keep him off the job for 8 weeks. He elected to take an unpaid FMLA leave. Then he found out that after 20 years of service, he had only saved 2 days of leave. Therefore, during his 8 weeks of FMLA, this employee only received 2 paid days. The employee could also have avoided taking this time unpaid by electing the short-term disability benefit. With this benefit, you pay a premium each month for insurance that in the event of a medical situation, you will receive a portion of your pay amount. Short-term disability is an example of approved leave when the required process is followed. See the insurance coordinator for details. IBN is the district's Interest-Based Negotiations Committee. Each year, they meet to review all compensation and benefits programs. This includes absenteeism, current policies, and comparable school district leave benefits. If you would like them to discuss a particular leave-related issue, please share this with your assigned IBN representative. Thank you for participating in leave policy training. Please contact a Human Resources representative with any questions.